Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about?
Hello.
Hello.
Listen, welcome. This is Kitchen Talk CTC, Conversations That Cook. I am super excited for today. Well, everybody who watches knows that this brings me so much joy. So I love doing Kitchen Talk. So welcome. My guys, JT and France are lifing. So they may pop in, but girls rule the world, so I think we can handle it.
Yes.
We can definitely handle it. So in the kitchen with me tonight is a return guest, and actually, this is gonna be crazy tonight, right? Because Dr. Henderson has been on the show a few times, but here is the crazy part, or the fun part is, hey Tasha, is Dr. Singleton was the one that introduced me to Dr. Henderson.
That's
So
right.
we did our first show about COVID because we had to pivot and go to this streaming, this virtual way of doing Kitchen Talk. She was our first guest to talk to us about how to handle this thing that we were going through that was so unusual to us. So welcome Dr. Henderson back to Kitchen Talk, and welcome Dr. Gwen Singleton. So excited that you are here with us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here, Lisa.
Yes.
And so I know Dr. Singleton from FAMU. We work together. She is a professor of psychology at the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. And Dr. Henderson, as we know, is a licensed clinical psychologist. So here we are. We about to dig in. Y'all know how we do it, Kitchen Talk, especially Dr. Henderson. You already know.
Yes. We're here to talk about it.
Yes. So I am super excited. So whenever I reach out to Dr. Henderson, she is always willing to pop on. And then this time she was like, "Can I have Dr. Singleton?" I was like, "Yes, please do. Have her come on. It'll be so great." When I was planning this show, I always try to think about what's going on and what we're doing in the world and what we're not doing, and the craziness and this and the good stuff and all of it. And then I came across that tomorrow, October 10th, is World Mental Health Wellness Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? Let's do a show. Let's do a check-in. We always try to check in on our mental health anyway. So let's do it, and let's pre-celebrate World Mental Health Day. So here we are with these lovely ladies. And so my first question is, what do you think, or how do you so what do you think about the state of our mental health as it relates to people not being embarrassed about it, or it's on the forefronts of minds, or not as much stigma? Do you think that's changing?
Yes, I would say so. Yes. Definitely since the advent of COVID, it has made mental health services more accessible through the virtual telehealth formats, the texting, messaging format. So access to services have been better, I would say, the last few years, which has in turn helped to reduce the stigma a bit. Now it's still there, It's
Mhm.
definitely still there. But when I think about prior to COVID to now, yes, there's been a decline in that stigma relating to mental health.
Yeah, that I know we've brought up COVID a couple of times. It is really interesting how COVID drove us to a lot of things, like
Hmm.
more technology,
Mhm.
um, and one and wondering about our mental health. Like most of the time, it's not something that, well, I would say the way I was raised, it wasn't something that we like regularly talked about.
Yeah.
Even though my mom would give us what she called a mental health day. Like we could have one, maybe 2 days during the school year where we didn't have to fake being sick because we didn't want to go to school. She was like, you get two a day to say, hey, I just don't feel like it today. And she
Hmm.
would call it a mental health day. But little did I know what it really meant, other than I just don't feel like going to school and I don't have to, try to make up something like I just don't want to go.
Wow, Lisa, your mother was so ahead of her time because back then people didn't talk about mental health at all. It was, somebody just wasn't right or they just need to be prayed for. We did not take the time to say, okay, this something's going on with me, something's not right. I need some help. No, we always, consistently suppress those emotions and feelings and hid away family members who we felt something was wrong with, who were
Hmm.
acting a little strange, but we did not acknowledge it. But thankfully, as time has changed, we are evolving. But some things, because some of those held misconceptions and myths that are associated with mental health, they still exist today, especially in the
Hmm.
older generations. We might see something a little bit differently in younger generations because they've been exposed to it earlier. With people
Hmm.
like you and your mother, exposing you early about mental health. We tend to expose children, our youth these days, a little bit earlier than what we were exposed to when we were young. So when we got older is when we learned about mental health. But a lot of our seniors today and older adults are still not as open, to accepting mental health as health. They also want to call it crazy, or that
Hmm.
it's something that we sweep on the rug or we don't talk about.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, we had definitely a lot of that going on with, like you said, somebody that acted a little different, or
Hmm.
if you couldn't, rein it in. Like you could act a nut or whatever, or however they said, but if you could rein it in, then it was okay. But when you couldn't rein it in, it was like, okay, yeah. And then that became the person that, we don't really talk that much about. Or if they had to go to a facility or something like that, you didn't talk about it,
Hmm.
which was kind of detrimental in ways. A lot of things that we didn't talk about, um, uh, that the next generation is going through, but because we didn't talk about it, then the next generation didn't know how to deal with it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I think in some cases, like our folks just didn't know what it was, didn't know how to deal with it because their parents didn't know what it was or know how to deal with it or know how to name it, so to speak. And so you did get a lot of, oh yeah, let's pray, let's go to church, which is good,
Yes.
which is
Hmm.
good. It works for some, but sometimes you need a little extra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Not knowing your family history too is also something that's problematic because sometimes the genetic, well, we have genetic predispositions. So knowing your family history is helpful for when you're experiencing something. So talking about it is always something that's so critical. So we definitely encourage people to talk about it. It helps us to get insight to ourselves, but also get support from our family. To on the days that when you're not your best, if people know your history or your the mental health conditions that you're dealing with, then they're in a better position to assist you also. So those days of sweeping it under the rug, they need to be long gone. We're getting better, but we're not where we need to be.
It's
Yes.
interesting you said that, Dr. Singleton. So, can you speak to mental health conditions can be hereditary?
Hmm.
Yeah, they can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Depression, anxieties, all of those things there. Research is now looking at a genetic, there's an a strong environmental link too.
Yes.
But there's been some studies too that have linked some of the conditions to genetics. So you could be at a higher predisposition to also having similar symptoms like it's your mother, dad, or even like your grandparent, aunt. So, like Dr. Singleton was saying earlier, one of the things that we do when we intake a client is to do a thorough background history where we ask about family psychiatric history on both sides of the family
Hmm.
because there is a link.
Wow. I guess I never really thought about it in that way. That I guess I understand genetics and a little bit, and
Mhm.
you might get your eyes from this person or your height from that person, but I never really thought about it when it came to the brain.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, I know the popular now that, for some, it might be overdiagnosed, but when you think about conditions like ADHD, learning disabilities, things like that, there are a lot of literature that are linking the condition as being a possible genetic link. Like if a parent had ADHD, there's a high chance that one or more of their children may also have similar conditions. So there's a lot of like a neurological component to it
Hmm.
that are being studied now.
Addiction as well.
Hmm.
And
Definitely addiction.
like Dr. Henderson mentioned, it's nature and nurture. I know,
Mhm.
that debate has been going on for the longest, but it's both. Where we have the genetic predisposition, so those things that we've inherited, but sometimes something in the environment could trigger,
Mhm.
um,
Hmm.
increase the likelihood of these things, to happen. So while
Mhm.
we get our genes, from our parents, that then our environment can influence the likelihood of these conditions manifesting.
Wow. And I know, growing up, we would have probably just called them or call them generational curses or generational blessings, and but never really taking the time or even knowing the science of it.
Mhm.
Like, you just be like, oh, that just kind of run in the family. Well, why does addiction run in the family?
Yeah.
Or, and just never, because you never really think about it in that way. You just think something happened to somebody and, they got addicted to this, or you just don't know why, which is probably another kitchen talk.
Yeah, and not to get too
Definitely.
deep right now, Lisa, but talk about that generational. So things can be passed down intergenerationally. So from one
Mhm.
generation to the next, to the next, to the next, in terms of genes.
Mhm.
And then the DNA that we have then is influenced by the environment, and then certain things are expressed. So we know how some things are recessive and some things express.
Mhm.
So things that pass down from generation to generation. You've heard people say, "Oh, well, no, nobody, neither of my parents are tall, but my great grandfather is tall." They're like,
Mhm.
"Wait a minute."
Mhm.
It can be passed on from
Mhm.
generation to generation. Some things can skip a good generation, as they say, but
Mhm.
basically what that means is that it didn't express itself in that previous generation. So,
Mhm.
again, environmental factors, have a serious impact on it.
Yeah. And I guess I just always thought when it came to mental health, it was about the outside. I never really thought about it being the inside.
Oh no, it's
Mhm.
Yeah.
definitely the inside too. I mean,
Yep, it's
that's why we say
both.
mental illness. Yes, definitely. A health condition. Dr. Henderson talked about neurologically, so cells are different. Um, Neurochemicals are different in terms of the levels, the balance and imbalance. So certain things that happen that cause changes in the brain that then impact, the manifestation of mental illness and sometimes severity as well.
Yes, very true. And the interesting thing about that is when you have someone that's experiencing mental illness and they're coming in for treatment, different treatments would be appropriate for those different conditions. Because if a person is coming in and it's just environmental, then of course the interventions would focus on changing aspects of that environment. But if a person is coming in and it's a neurological, genetic thing, then just modifying the environment won't be sufficient. You'll have to look at other interventions like a medication therapy in addition with therapy. So yeah, it's a puzzle piece that the provider has to kind of investigate, put together to see, okay, what will work best for this unique situation.
Wow. I mean, that is like that is so it's a lot to think about. So as a person dealing with family, dealing with this, dealing with the other, dealing with life, how do we support or how do we recognize or how do we even suggest if somebody may need a particular assistance from a mental health specialist?
Kind of what you just said. You said by noticing, monitoring, being connected to your family member. And if you see something that doesn't quite look right or feel right, you bring that up to the individual and you try to encourage them to seek out help. Now, if it's very serious, if it's a situation where a person is clinically depressed or with suicidal ideation, then you may have to help make that decision for them. But what you said, that's what you do. You're monitoring, you're talking to them, you're connecting with them and trying to encourage them from that space.
A lot of times we have friends or family members, we notice something different about them, something about their demeanor, their behaviors, and then we just hope that it'll pass. But as Dr. Henderson says, that when we notice something's different, then we should be, talking with them and working with them to assist them to get help rather than just waiting and hoping that it'll pass.
I know we do when we talk about our physical health, there's a lot of times a symptom. There's a cough, a sneeze, a this or that or the other. And some of us will wait.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, or we'll self-diagnose. Oh, that's this. Let me take this and it'll be all right. And then he's like, okay, that ain't going away. Let me go see somebody. So would you say outside of even what we just kind of went over, would you say that there are maybe symptoms that we could recognize or that that other we could recognize in ourselves or we could recognize in others?
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
What might those be?
Well, it just depends on the condition. If you talking depression, then there are certain symptoms that you might feel as the person that's depressed or others around you may notice. If you are withdrawing from others, staying in bed all day, things that you normally find enjoyable, that you participate in a lot, you all of a sudden now no longer are interested in it. Have negative cognitions where you're thinking negatively about yourself and others and the world. And once again, with depression, anxiety, these are just feelings like normal human emotions. So everybody will go through this and have these phases. Like you said, your mom told you have 2 days out of a year. After you had that rest day, probably the next day you were good. Was that correct? So you were able to kind of have your moment, have your day to rest and regroup, and then the next day you were able to kind of get back at it. But if you
Mhm.
find that you're not able to get back at it, like it's
Mm.
lasting for a long time, it's taking a lot of effort just to do a little amount of things. Like you're not able to do your daily tasks, and
Mhm.
it's lasts for days and weeks and sometimes months. Then you have a problem, and that's just for depression. But for every condition, there are symptoms that we look for as clinicians, but also family members can also be looking out for those symptoms as well.
JT Plummer.
Hi.
Hello, JT.
Hello.
Hello, ladies. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Good.
I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling all right. Just coming to get my mental illness checked up.
His mental illness.
It's mental illness.
That's what
Oh,
we talking about, right?
yes, we
Yes.
are talking about mental health and wellness. Mental health, wellness, JT, not your kind of problems.
Yeah, you might be
Hey, so,
above our pay grade, JT.
what? Why you putting my business out in the street?
Sorry.
I'm trying to figure that out. Hey, hey, Latasha, right? How you doing?
Well, JT, I have no comment. I'll say it's nice to meet you.
Ah, likewise, likewise, likewise.
Yes, yes,
But don't
yes.
mind me. I'm just your local crazy guy, you know. I mean, especially if you let Lisa say it, it's I'm a lunatic, so it is what it is.
I would
But
not say
you know,
that.
Lisa has already diagnosed you, huh?
I
yeah,
would
she
not say
has,
that.
she has.
Oh,
But I
he
digress.
brings the laughter, though. I will say that.
Mhm.
I will say that. So, we just, as you all know, this is Kitchen Talk CTC Conversations That
This is
Cook.
that cook.
Yes, yes, yes. And we have actually been at this like 8 years. September the 29th,
Wow,
we
8 years.
taped our first two shows.
Hmm.
We call them the Lost Files because nobody can find them.
Or we know
But
where
we
they at,
did.
but
We did. We did. So we've been at it for a minute, and JT and France been rocking with me for the longest. So these are my guys, and
Mhm.
yeah, JT is the one that definitely thinks outside of the box. I'll put it that way.
Uh-huh.
That's a
I'll put
special
it.
gift.
It
Yeah.
is.
If you want to call it that, if you want to.
It is. It is. It is. But we've had discussions over the years, like I mentioned before when we first got started, that Dr. Henderson was one of our first guests when we went to our virtual platform.
Mhm.
And she definitely has been helping us talk about and think about mental health and what that means. And um, what are some of the things or changes? I know we talked a little bit about the accessibility to mental health professionals. What are some of the other things that you are seeing that have come out of, as we discussed just a few minutes ago, like since COVID, like, and people really trying to tap in to being not just more physically healthy, but more mentally healthy?
That's a huge question you just said there, Lisa. Um, I would say the biggest thing that I'm seeing over and over again since the COVID season, because the COVID season that dominated probably, I would say, about 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Now it's more into the uncertainty of our world. Like people
Mm.
are anxious, worrying about all of the different moving parts that's happening in our world now, and just worrying about how that's going to affect their future. So I'm seeing that a whole lot. Not getting political, but that's what I'm hearing a whole lot about. So trying to help individuals to not get caught up into that and try to kind of focus more on their day to day, tackling what they are able to control and not what they're not able to control. So
That's one of the things. Oh, God.
Sorry, JT.
Oh no, I was just about to say that's one of the things that I always say. Each day you have to control the controllables.
Yeah.
Anything that you can control it. But everything that you cannot, hey, put your hand on it. You won't be able to control it, but go ahead and try. But just control the controllables. Everything that you're able to affect, go ahead and do what you got to do. Make sure everything is correct and everything like that. But that's just me. I'm trying to contain my crazy.
No, that's good advice.
Something we say to the young people all the time is that, you only have control over what you do, what you think, what you say, and not over what others, do, think, and say. I work with youth a lot. So a lot of them, in terms of the challenges and concerns, a lot of them still feel like they're playing catch up from being in virtual school. A lot of them are so behind, particularly with math, algebra, things like that. And so they're coping maladaptive coping. So they're not coping effectively. So then they're now struggling to learn how to try to relearn these things, play catch up, and then balance, all the things that are going on in their lives and trying to play catch up and learning how, and who they are in this new environment. So it seems like they missed, from their perspectives, some important developmental years, especially face to face, because when you think about isolation, learning in these little boxes and not really being in a space, we're social beings, so not being around people and interacting with people, because a lot of us really thrive off being in the space of others, but on that. And then and not that we have a problem with being alone with ourselves, but having that time to then, in addition to being alone, to then trying to fill the void of those social interactions. So, and that social support that a lot of us also thrive off on, because it helps us to maintain that balance. Helps us to, I guess, to navigate. So being alone, while it's not a bad thing, being alone during a very challenging time and at a certain very pivotal time in their lives was something that was really challenging that they still seem to be recovering from.
I think we really don't know the impact yet of COVID. They're going to be doing a lot of research on this, because that's very true. Children now they're struggling with social skills and how to navigate. And out of COVID, there was a push toward the technology. So you have children that was during the COVID season, sort of left that season and went straight into the technological season, where they're constantly on their phones. That is their friend. That's how they communicate with each other. So if you say, okay, do you have any friends? And a child will say, yeah, or a teenager will say, yeah, I have lots of friends. And then if your follow-up question is, okay, do you see them? Do you go out with them? No, we text. I play video games with them online. Those are my friends. So it's not the same thing that we probably grew up understanding friendships, relationships, and things like that. So that's a huge, huge thing. I think they're going to be doing a lot of studies on this for the next decade or so, just what the impact is on children that experience those COVID years and how it affects them as adults and their relationships and things like that. I just feel that's going to be heavily tapped over the next decade or so.
Definitely. I agree with that. Yeah. And you're talking about studies of children. Also, recent study of mine that was just published looking at women, again, following COVID and taking on all the responsibilities that they have to take on. So we're talking about the children studying, in school virtually, but then we have the parents who are helping them with their work, doing their own work, running the house, and and all the other things that went along with it. But in my recently published study looking at African American women in particular, and the Superwoman scheme, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but just that idea that I have to take care of everyone, everything, and not show any weakness, and then still look beautiful doing it. That these women had a whole bunch of PTSD symptoms and stress related to COVID, problems with regulating their emotions, and then subsequently mental health problems. So circling back to our Worldwide Mental Health Day focus, looking at the factors that contribute to mental health challenges in Black women. This is one of the phenomena, and this is the result from COVID, at least from our particular study, showing that the weight that they carried then increased their challenges with regulating their emotions and increased their PTSD symptoms following COVID.
Well, we can definitely thank Shaka Khan and Whitney Houston. I'm every woman. It's all in me.
How are you doing with that, Lisa? How are you doing with that?
And trying to live up to it.
Yes, love that song.
And try to live up to it. I mean,
we can thank James Brown.
Oh Lord.
Because it's a man's world.
But it wouldn't be nothing
without I understand that. We gotta have y'all. We gotta have y'all, but
I mean, even God said it.
You're incomplete.
Yeah, I know. Cisco said that too.
You know what? See, y'all, so I don't really have to say anything. Y'all witnessing it firsthand.
I'm never gonna deny. We need y'all. We need y'all. Y'all need us. We need y'all.
We need
even
each
though
other.
we need each other. So
that's right.
But even past COVID, even pre-COVID, it was this whole thing with how we were raised. Some of us, you could cry a little bit, but okay, come on, let's get up, let's move on. Let's push on from that, or be strong, or and never really having to kind of wallow, so to speak, in your feelings, or what we would consider wallowing, instead of addressing how you're feeling. Like I'm a little bit like that now. I'm like hard. Like if you make me cry, it's something like for real going on. Like but again, just that whole strong people, strong person, helping folks, and not really, paying attention to yourself. So I am glad to see that some of that is being addressed as well when it comes to our mental health, and that we're actually checking in, and the word is not so taboo anymore. Still, again, like you were saying, it's still a little bit on it, but it's not as much. And so now I could say that, you know what, I'm not okay. And I don't have to feel some kind of way about saying that. I could say, I could walk in the door at work and say, hey, it's an off day. I'm going here, I'm close my door, I'm gonna do my work, but don't come bother me. Can I can say that now versus, just coming into work, having a bad day, or having whatever the day was, and then it's just snapping at people because we could not say, or not even that we could not say it. We didn't. Some of us didn't have a name for it.
Right.
We didn't have a name to say, oh, I'm depressed.
Mhm.
We didn't have a name for it. We just know we had sad feelings. And even in that, we had to push through them. Some of us, we didn't
Right.
have, time to do this, or we didn't have a way to express it. Or if we expressed it too much, then it was a problem. So
Problem.
then,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You don't want to show weakness. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want, because if you're not okay, and you're not okay too many times, then people are going to think that you're weak, that there's
Mhm.
Yeah.
something wrong with you, to judge you based on that. So we don't want to be judged. We don't
Mhm.
want to be, people.
Especially if you're a man. Whoo.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Have you
We
seen that
cannot.
improve some, JT? Like when you think
Huh?
about your group of guy friends, I mean, do you feel that there's been some changes in that, in the way men handle that, or show their emotions, or can say, I'm not okay?
I don't. Not particularly. Not particularly with my guy friends. But some other groups, yes, I have. In some groups, I have. I really have. But I think we all deal with we all deal with things certain ways. I know myself. I I had to learn to deal with depression, and I think Lisa can tell you. I lost my mom a while back, but it was one of those it was one of those type of things that it completely devastated me.
Mm-hmm.
I was crippled. You know, I found myself gaining weight, and I've gotten myself back to myself now, but it was one of those things that I just did not think that I would overcome, and I found myself in a place of darkness, if you will. But it was like one of those things I always tried to say, I got to fight my way to the light. You got to fight your way to the light. And I see the light. I see.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you know, but it was hard. It was hard. But I think one of the ways that I did deal with depression and everything else was getting back to the gym.
There you
That
go.
was that was my way.
Yeah.
That was my way of getting back. Getting back to yourself by getting back to the gym. I mean, it was it that was tough within itself, because a lot of times when you pull up in the parking lot, do I really want to do this today? But a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people don't realize that the heaviest weight at the gym is the door to
Mm.
walk in. that
Wow.
that
True.
that
Very
the
true.
heaviest, yes, the heaviest weight at the gym is the door to walk in.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times that you grab that door and be like, oh, I don't even feel like walking in here. And the
Mm-hmm.
door you might feel like the door weighs about 500 pounds, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But
Yes.
once again, mentality,
Mm-hmm.
overcome, walk through, build back up. That's what I had to do.
I'm so glad you were able to work through that.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I be trying to help Lisa work through her shortness, but it's like one of them things. I don't know if I don't know if I can help her get over that. I've tried
Right,
to buy
Lisa.
a car seat, booster seats. She told me one day she had a basketball. She said she wanted to dunk. I was like, I don't know how that's possible, but what I did was I went and bought her a Fisher Price rim that was like close to the ground, and she dunked all the balls she wanted. So it was cool. Oh, Letitia, right? You short too? I'm
You know,
sorry.
that's my sister, JT. That is
Oh.
my sister. So now we know who has a problem with my height, because I know
Oh,
it's
yeah.
that
We always gonna joke. We gonna be serious on the show, but I got to get them in. We not gonna be depressed. Not around me. No, no,
That's
no.
right. That's right.
But
Oh my
JT, I
God.
commend you
So
for sharing that, though, because you know what? Sometimes when men voice what they're feeling and what they've gone through, it gives other men permission
mhm,
to
Mm-hmm.
share as
Mhm.
well. So
mhm.
you know, what you're doing is powerful, and you could be helping so many people,
Yes.
Yes,
just
ma'am.
by sharing your journey. And I mean, of course, and I wouldn't be the person I am if I wouldn't say, because I love that you said you exercise. So I love talking about how things actually work. So when you exercise, you're burning off stress hormones. So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
why that's a great way to get back to yourself. So you talked about that weight you gain. So cortisol is one of those stress hormones that puts on
Hmm.
that belly fat, right? So then when
Hmm.
you're exercising, even if it's that door that you're pulling on
Yes.
just to get you started,
Yes, ma'am.
you're preparing your body to burn off those stress hormones to help
Look,
you
I'm
get back to yourself. So you
yes, ma'am.
keep going. That is so commendable. I so appreciate you and
I
sharing that.
see, as y'all can see, I can see my neck again. It's crazy. You know, it's
That's a huge thing, JT. That's a huge thing.
It is really, really so one of my things, and this is why I love JT too, is laughter. Like
Mhm.
that is the biggest, to me, the greatest medicine ever.
Mhm.
Yes, it
Um
is.
is laughter. So
Yeah.
I keep him around for my laughter. And but the fact that we can again, that he can come on here and say this, I have seen him come that far.
Mhm.
Yes,
and
yes.
and it's commendable, like Dr. Singleton said, because sometimes we're so tight-lipped, for fear of judgment, for fear of looking weak, for fear of, that's not our role, you know in certain, in certain families, we are the strong ones, so
Mhm.
we can't fall apart, because if we fall apart, everybody gone.
Yeah.
Right.
you
Right.
know
And I know I'm one of those type of people as well. I was once one of those type of guys, like, anybody can ask you what, hey, what's going on, man? You good? Yeah, I'm straight. I'm good. I'm
Mhm.
good. And you can only say I'm good so many times before things
Mhm.
boil over and things explode. But um I'm not sure. I don't know if you're familiar with the artist. His name is Jelly Roll, but
Mhm.
he has this song, I Am Not Okay. Man, I listened to that song probably 300 times.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if y'all interested in, R&B and all that type of stuff, but
Mhm.
just listen to the song and listen to the words. He helped me get through.
Yeah.
He helped me get through.
And that was another thing that I was saying about how can we help and how can we support and how can we recognize different things. So I think it is too important that we get to know each other, that we're connected, which is outside of this social media kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, because I do have a couple of people in my life that can look me in my face and they be like, "Oh, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good," and they be like, "Nah."
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah.
My pastor is what he be like, "Nah, come on." He like, "Leave me alone," whatever.
Yeah.
But it is, to me, and you guys can speak to this, to mental health. How important is it to have folks in your life, like, and not be the Lone Ranger?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, that again aligns with some of the things that, we talked about in our article. The article is called Warrior Woman. How, we have to be this warrior. We're on the battlefield. We got our armor on, and, we're going to fight to protect, and defend. But, when we're doing that, we're neglecting ourselves, and we're pushing, we're fighting. We all saw, what's the movie Woman King,
Mhm.
the Dahomey warriors go in, right? But we also saw them, braiding one another's hair. We saw them bathing. We saw them dancing. We saw them relaxing, because they realized that it's important to fight, to go into battle, to strategize, to work together. But it's also important for us to rest, to recharge, to take care of ourselves. and they also had the support of one another. So they supported one another in that journey. So a lot of times when we go out there, we feel like, hey, it's me against the world. If you want it done right, do it yourself. I've got this. I don't need anybody. All of those things. You'll see my neck moving, right? Um, but but for us to be able to be at our best, then we need our social support, because no person can handle everything all the time without taking that time and without having that support system. We are, as I said earlier, social people. And then having that social connection and having that social support is so important for our physical health, our mental health, and just in our future longevity as well. Community building, sustaining that. When things get heavy, somebody help to carry the load for us. It's always really so helpful for us to be able to maintain our health, physical and mental health.
Wow. Yeah, that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I am a very extroverted person. I like people. I like being around folks. So when I cannot, like during COVID, it was driving me crazy. Like, oh my God, I'm looking at these same four walls every day. And then I would hear people like, during different things, Zoom calls or whatever, and folks who were married, had kids or whatever. They're like, I'm like, oh my God, I kill for somebody to talk to face to face right now,
Mhm.
and you want them to go away.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it's so. I think that COVID just took us to so many extremes.
It did.
Yeah, so
Because you
many
have
extremes.
some, I know they're probably in the minority, but you'll also have a group of people that loved it. Like you will have the loners, or you will have the ones that find their solace in that solitude. So being around a lot of people overwhelm them, or they just get that sensory
Mhm.
overload. So you were mentioning about, should we be social? Should we? It probably depends on the person and their life experiences, because some people, because of what has happened to them, because of the things in their background, they've put those walls up where they feel the most comfortable, the most safe when they're alone. So there is a small subset of people that do function pretty well by themselves, but the majority, yeah, we're social beings, and we thrive when we are connected to folks.
I like
Yeah.
people sometimes. Sometimes.
Is that you, JT?
It is me. It is me. It is I. It is. I mean, I'm not a complete loner. I do like I said, people sometimes, but
Mhm.
I'm not a complete loner. I'll go out and I work at the strip club part time, so I got to be around certain people.
You're connected
Um,
to some.
It's so nutty. It's at night. The show is at night, but it's not after dark, JT.
I gotta be me.
I know, I know. You're gonna have these people thinking you work at a strip club for real.
I'm ladies.
Oh,
Listen,
you're joking. Oh, you want to see my
I,
face, right? I was like, oh, is that what we talk about in the kitchen?
When he's around, yes.
Conversations that cook. Okay.
yeah, we cook in the kitchen. It gets hot.
It
Don't hold it against me. I'm just having fun. Don't hold it against me, Dr. Singleton, Dr. Henderson. I'm sorry.
You're excused, JT.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
Lisa is used to this.
And it's nothing I can do about it. Like nothing. And I have tried. So we have a few more minutes in the show. If you had to give us 5 maybe tips of how to I don't want to say handle. I want to say 5 tips to mental health wellness, like things we could do like every day or every other day or once a month, or you know how it, 5 things that we could do to help improve, even if we good, like it could still be improved upon. I think.
You want to go back and forth, Dr. Singleton? I would say
Sure. Yeah.
first
Tennis.
tip would be, while you're giving everything to everyone, make sure you put yourself at the top. So you're giving to yourself first, then you can give to others your resources, emotional resources to everyone else.
Oh, that's good.
Love it. I'm going to say that you prioritize rest. Rest helps to reduce stress, but it also prolongs life. Research shows people who get enough sleep live longer, have better mental health.
So let me ask you a question on that. I knew this was gonna take a minute because I'm nosy. um, when you talk about rest, do you mean sleep or just relaxation or a
All of the
combination?
above: sleep,
Mhm.
sleep, rest, relaxation,
So
because it
that means naps. I could take naps.
you can. Just not at work. You,
I need to start some kind of law bill or something. I need to be able to take a nap at work.
I know where you work. That's why I said, well, not at work.
Not at work. We want you to keep your job.
Well, yeah, I do need to keep my job,
Please.
Yeah, yeah.
Please.
or else I gotta move in with JT.
Hey, I got space.
Until you get all the people.
I would say next one would be, make sure you're doing something that you enjoy at least once or twice a week.
Awesome. I would say stress management. Because a lot of times, and I guess I'm adding a lot of commentary. You're not, huh? Should I just leave it there?
Mm-mm.
Stress management. Oh,
Oh,
okay. Okay.
Because I was
Um,
gonna ask you, how do you do that?
The gym is one way.
yeah, it is. It is. So coping strategies. There are a lot of, and then it will vary from person to person.
Mhm.
In some situations, just taking a breath, right?
Mhm.
We know about the counting to 10. That gives you an opportunity to take a pause so that you're not overreacting. That helps you to kind of, think about the way you want to respond. Coming up with coping strategies that work for you. For some people, writing things out and kind of problem solving or coming up with a plan. Sometimes those dumps, the mental dump, you're just writing it all down, getting those thoughts out. Sometimes that clutter then interferes with our ability to relax. So we're like stressed. So that, because we have too many things going on in our head. So, but definitely exercise, yoga, meditation, so many things, being around others, listening to music, so many. I mean, the list can go on and on and on, with the things that you can do: massage, take a walk, sit out in nature, so, but it'll vary by person. Some people, one thing might work, and for others, that thing will not work. So it's
Mhm.
about finding what works for you to help you to feel less stressed.
Definitely for me, the writing down, like if if I can't process it in my head, I have to write it down. Once I write it down, I'm
Mhm.
done with it. Like
Mhm.
if I was upset about something and I can't get over it, I write it down. Once I write it down, I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's move on. But now
Actually,
if
I've
I
done
write it down and can't move on, somebody in trouble.
Felicia,
Lisa,
we're doing something similar with the youth for things that they were upset about. They would write it down or something they wanted to release. write it down, ball it up, tear it up, and then throw it away. So,
Yeah.
another way to kind of get rid of it. And then like adults we are working with who are having problems sleeping, we say write down all of your thoughts, everything you did for today, what you want to do for tomorrow, and then say, okay, I leave it here so that then they can clear their minds and go to sleep.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. You
I
all
never
were
thought
getting
about
into
tearing it up and throwing it away.
Yeah, they loved it. They loved it.
Mhm.
They really did. Some of them even had tears. It was such a powerful experience,
Mm.
for them. And we even had it like an administrator who was there while we were working with the youth, uh,
I
and
do.
uh, who also participated in it. Just to release some things. Releasing this from my day, from my mind, from my heart, and just write it down, tear it up, ball it up, whatever. And then we had the trash can in the front of the room for them to walk away, and leaving it, symbolizing leaving it behind.
I
Mhm.
love it.
Me too.
That is good. All right, we got one more.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Hmm.
Love it.
Ooh.
Period. The amount of time we spend obsessing over things and sweating things and worrying about things doesn't require that energy. You take it in. Remember, going back to, I don't know if JT, you said this or not, but just remember, is this something I can control, change? If I can't, move on.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Most of this stuff
Control
is
the
temporary.
controllables.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
controllables.
I love that.
I
Yes.
love that too. That is good. That is something I need to put up somewhere because I am definitely an overthinker.
Mhm.
I can't help it. I gotta figure it out. I need to understand.
So are you,
But
Lisa?
like,
You one of those type of people that just be laying in your bed looking at the ceiling at night, trying to figure it out instead of sleeping?
so I will say this. No, not necessarily. But I am the person that has to have noise when I need to concentrate
Mm,
because otherwise my mind keeps it's a very creative mind. So it
Mhm.
goes
some
from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And
thought.
in silence, it's awful. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this will make a nice play. Oh, but no, and it just kind of leads me in all of these places. So when I get ready to go to bed, I do have my television on. I set the sleep timer so that I can ignore it and close my eyes. Otherwise, I'm thinking about, oh wait, I should have did this. Oh, you know what? That's a good line for the it's crazy. So I can't I'm not good with silence in that way. Yeah.
Mm,
That sounds familiar. I'll tell you out off camera.
Uh-oh.
mm.
Uh-oh. Okay. now I'm nervous.
Sounds like more
Nothing to be nervous
kitchen
about.
talk.
But
What you
yeah.
talking about, Dr. Henderson?
Ooh, okay.
Looking forward
but
to
but yeah, so tomorrow, October 10th, is World Mental Health Wellness Day. So from the doctors that were here today, tomorrow do something for yourself. Do something for you. Do something that is going to bring you joy. When Dr. Henderson was talking about putting yourself at the top of the list, I thought about how they tell you when you're on the plane, put your mask on first, and then you can help others. And we always think about it in the sense of crisis, but
Mhm.
in the sense of peace, still put yourself at the top of
First.
the list. Take care of you, and then you can pour out and take care of others. And I think we've been doing it the opposite way for so
Mhm.
long that it is now something that we almost have to reprogram ourselves to do. Not be the last last person on the list, but be the first person on the list. And that's not selfish.
Right.
It is honestly just taking care of you, making sure you're the strongest, making sure you're the best version of you, and then you can give to others. So we are definitely learning that. Listen, ladies and JT, oh my God, this has been so amazing. Thank you all so much for coming on. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with us on Kitchen Talk. CTC.
Conversations that cook.
That's what they do. That's what they do. We are super, super excited. Thank you for those who have joined us in the in this platform. We're streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. And speaking of, if you are watching us on our YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you will not miss another show or anything else that we're doing. And then if you are watching us on Facebook, hit the like button again. Turn on those notifications so you'll never miss another thing that Kitchen Talk is doing. We have had a wonderful show on mental health on today. Wonderful conversation. Thank you to Dr. Singleton and thank you to Dr. Henderson for being our guest tonight. And I got a feeling that they will be back because I'm going to ask them to come back.
Thank you, Lisa, for having us.
Yes. Such a pleasure.
It has been our pleasure. Thank you all so much. And so next week, JT, is FAMU Homecoming. So we will have a show, but it is a pre-recorded show. But please, we'll be right back here at 9:00. We'll probably be watching. So if you comment, we could jump in on the comments too. But yes, we'll be right back here next week with a pre-recorded show. But you don't want to miss it. It will be the observance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is also in October. So we have a pre-recorded show on that. And so listen out, and it gives us good information and good conversation. And so as always, Kitchen Talk, one of my favorite things to do. And we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen Talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen Talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen Talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen Talk, let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about?